Hello, kings and queens. How y'all doing today? Just leaving lunch with my family. Decided I'd make a video for you all. Drop a little more knowledge on y'all. That's my son and my nephews in the background. Y'all can see them in the background just chilling. So I decided to make a new video, drop a little more knowledge for y'all. Okay, today, the topic I will be discussing will be, in fact, the history of the black man and the black woman. I had a conversation with one of my sister-in-laws one day, and I told her how great the black race was and how life started in Africa, and how Africa was the very first continent that life, started on. And she didn't believe me. She was like, "No, Adam and Eve were the first people on Earth." I'm like, "No, they were not." I said, any scientist worth their salt will tell you that black people were in fact the first people on Earth. Adam and Eve is a fairy tale, much like the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. It's just allegory. Lies came up by the white man to make black people and our history irrelevant and diminish the accomplishment that we have made to this society. Africa is literally called the cradle of life. The black woman is God. Life began with the black woman, not Adam and Eve or, none of this or none of that. It literally began in Africa. Africa is called the cradle of life for a reason, people. And if you go to if you go to museums all across Germany and Europe and go to these museums in the back, it's not going to be in the front now, they will tell you and they will show you how life began in Africa. Black people have been here long before any other race was. They say Columbus discovered America. Well, that's a lie. They teach that in schools. A lie. First off, the Native Americans were here before Columbus, but the Native Americans, upon meeting Columbus, told Columbus about the dark-skinned people who came from across the waters in canoes. Now, we were in canoes, traveling the open seas long before Columbus was ever on the ocean. And he didn't discover America. He was lost. Columbus thought that this continent was in fact just a part of Asia. It wasn't until Amerigo Vespucci came and said, well, no, this is a whole new entire continent. Thus, we're called America, not Columbus. Columbus was the biggest rapist, murderer that ever existed. So when people say they celebrating Columbus, I'm like, you enjoy that day off. But Columbus was nothing but a rapist and a murderer. Now, back to the greatness of the black race. You can tell black people how great they are and they won't believe you. You can tell them how we civilized Europe, how, Europeans, had the animals living inside. We built corrals, we built pens and showed them, keep the animals outside. The dog, believe it or not, was not domesticated until the Europeans domesticated. The dog was outside. The Europeans domesticated the dog and brought the dog inside to live with them. Thus, they have all these chicken pox. Chicken pox come from chickens being in close contact with chickens. The Moors came to Europe and told them, you don't have your animals in the house sleeping with you. Do you know that today you can see some videos where people, Europeans, still have pigs as pets? Huh? Now, that comes from their ancestors trying to domesticate everything. Pig is not supposed to be kept as a pet. Pig is supposed to be outside in a pen. Pig is the nastiest animal on earth. So we came along and showed them all this. We showed them how to bathe. They were a bunch of stinky people. They didn't bathe. They didn't, we showed them all this. We showed them perfumes. We came and we showed them all of this. And what did they do in return? They slaughtered us. They murdered us. They raped our women. They raped us. All these things we done for them and to them, they turn around and repay us with mass murder, brutality. So when I hear white people talk about how violent the black people or any other race of people are, it's funny to me because white people are the mother and fathers of every violent act that's ever been recorded. The first recorded violent act was in the Bible when, Cain and Abel, when Cain slew Abel, that was the first recorded act of violence. So when you say that black people are prone to violence, hey, guess what? You taught us. You are the biggest rapists, murderers, kidnappers, pillagers. You all did all of this. So if we learned it, we learn from the greatest teachers ever known. White people are the only race of people that wherever they go, death and destruction immediately follow. They did it to the Indians. They did it to the Africans. They do it here. World War I, II, the Civil War. Everywhere you set foot, death and destruction follow. Black people, we're not a violent people. We are peaceful people. That's why we welcome you to Africa. You bowed to us before we bowed to you. When you set foot on the African continent, you were in awe of the riches of Africa. The gold, the silver, the oil. You were in awe of all of that. And all this can be explained if you just do a little research, lazy-minded black people, and they'll tell you all of this. So, in closing, I'm trying to tell you and educate you on how great you are. I know you don't want to hear it. I always say this. If you want black people to believe how great they are, send white people to tell them. Because as long as a black person is trying to tell you how great you are as a people, you won't believe it. But the minute a white person says, oh yeah, you were kings and queens before you were slaves. Our history didn't begin with slavery. No, we were kings and queens before we were slaves. But you won't believe that unless a white person tells you. It'd be a shame to go your whole entire life without having one thought that wasn't put there by white people. Wake up, think for yourself. Y'all have a great day.